Alright guys, I'm back, the Hotshot Central here, and we are yet again going to be continuing on with Japanese tanks in the Museum of Seek and Destroy. And continuing on from there was the Stug 3 assault tank. So let's continue on with that, shall we? This tank led to the defeat, says that twice apparently. This tank led to the defeat of the T-34. It introduced a easier way to fire. 75mm gun has a higher caliber though, because of the bigger gun. As you can see there, the gun also has a muzzle brake as well to help the bullet travel in a straight line. Max speed is 40 km like all the other tanks. The weight is 20 tons, so it's a ton heavier than Alf's E. However, it has 50mm of armour, the same as Alf's E also. Is the G version, the last Stug of last version of the Stugs. This is the last of the Assault Gun 3 series. Tank sports heavy armour and a 48 caliber main gun. Has a 75mm tank gun, weighs 20 tons, so the same as the previous version, Alf's F. Same top speed, has 30mm though more armour, so it's 30mm thicker at 80mm instead of 50. It's quite interesting. Moving on to the grill. This is a simple tank which just mounts a 150mm infantry gun on the 38 T-tank chassis. Has a different colours paint scheme now, which is interesting. This is a simple tank which just mounts 150mm infantry tank gun on a 38 T chassis tank. This is easy to use and was actively used in battles. Grill means cricket. Has a 150mm tank gun, infantry gun, sorry. So it's a howitzer gun. Has 35 km top speed, so 5 km less than the previous tanks that we have shown. Weighs 12 tons, so is 8 tons lighter than the last version of Stug 3. Has 50mm of armour though, so 30mm less thickness than the Stug 3, but the same thickness as the previous version of that. So that's interesting. Here's a Marder 3, the next version of the Marder 2. Here he is. Russian artillery and Czech tanks seized by the Germans were combined to make this tank. They used Czech 38T tank for the body and rebuilt the compartment. And instead of having a 75, it has a 76mm gun. I'm guessing it's a high velocity millimeter gun also. Has a top speed of 47 kilometers, so that's 12 kilometers faster than the Grille. However, this is a tank destroyer, not a mobile artillery tank. Weighs 10 tons, so it's 2 tons lighter than the Grille, and has the same armour as the Grille also at 50 millimeters of thickness. Here's the Hetzer. It's I think it's a Swiss tank originally. Tank destroyer made in Czech, known as the German light tank. This tank is small and fast. 60mm armour is placed in 60-degree angle for protection. So 75mm gun, quite potent. 44 km/h speed. So that makes it 3 mph slower than the Model 3. That's okay, because it weighs 15 tons also, so that's pretty good. Which makes it 5 tons heavier than the Model 3. There's 60mm of armour. So it has 10mm of extra thickness compared to the Model 3, making it a lot a more well-armoured tank. Or should I say, Model 3 as a tank destroyer, and the Hetzer is a normal tank. Here's a Panzer IV Alf's D. This is like one of the first versions of the Panzer IV tank. So here we go, shall we? Type A and B were for testing, and Type C was mass produced. The improved version is Type D. The main gun was designed to be mounted from the outside, which made it hard to destroy. 75mm Dumpy cannon. Top speed of 40 kilometers, like the rest of the previous tanks. Weighs 20 tons, so it is 5 tons heavier than the Hetzer. 30mm of thickness also. 30mm less thickness compared to the Hetzer. Which is odd because the Panzer IV also apparently has the same amount of thickness as an upgraded Panzer II, which is the Alf's F. So yeah, there's that. It is quite weird, that one is. This is a Panzer IV tank, has a custom turret with a new commander's hatch and better armour below. This is the Alf's E version. As a 75mm tank gun. I see they tried to make a little correction there with the tank gun, but yeah, they kind of screwed that one up a bit. 40 kilometers top speed, 21 tons, which makes this tank 1 ton heavier than the previous version. Has, however, though, 10 more extra thickness compared to the Panzer D at 30mm armour. This is the F-Type, and here it is, the Type F1 with a 24 caliber 75mm gun. It's also called a short barrel. Type F2 with a 43 caliber gun is a long barrel. The F2 also had a muzzle brake, which helped the bullet travel in a straight line. Larger calibers travel longer distances. Also has more penetration power. Has a 50mm amount of armour. So compared to the Alps E, the Alps E has the same amount of armour as the Alps D. However, the Alps F has 20mm of extra thickness compared to the two previous tanks, and is 2 km/h faster at 42 kilometers, and weighs in at 23 tons, which makes it 2 tons heavier than the previous tanks. Here's the Alps G version. Tanks need more power as the battle prolongs. Type G mounts a 48 caliber 75mm gun, which is better than the F2 version. So a 75mm high velocity tank gun at 42 km/h. So same speed, I'm guessing, as the Type F. Yeah, same speed. I'm just going to quickly go back to the Panzers. Weighs 23 tons, so it's the same as the Alps F. Has 50mm of armour, which is also the same as previous version, Alps F. And as a 75mm, like I said, high velocity tank gun, high velocity 75mm gun, which the Alps F doesn't have. So yeah, here's the last version of the Panzer IVs. I think the travelling distance is also important. That was improved for the Type J of the Panzer IV series. The distance increased to 320 km from 210. The turret's rotation motor was removed. Oh, that's quite interesting. .75mm gun has 4 less top speed though than the 4 kilometers less top speed than the Alps G or F. Same 75 high velocity mm gun, weighs 25 tons. So that will probably make this 2 tons heavier than the 2 previous versions. Has, however, though, 80mm of thickness compared to the Alps G, which has 50mm, which is also the same as the Alps F, which also has 50mm of armour. This, however, though, has 80, which makes this a lot more tougher in battle. Here's the Jagdpanzer IV. The leaders requested a tank with a 4 hull and a number Panzer III fighting compartment. The armour is thicker than that of a Panzer IV, but not the last version though of the Panzer IV. 80mm of armour, the same as the last version, which is the Alps J. Have the same top speed as the Alps J because of this. Less top speed also than the Alps G in the Panzer IV series. Same 75 high velocity millimeter gun, weighs 23 tons, which is 2 tons lighter than that of the Alps J, which helps. Here's the Brumbar mid-model. Tough self-propelled gun with a 12 caliber 150mm howitzer mounted to the Panzer IV tank chassis. The artillery doesn't turn, but destroyed the enemy's bases using its offensive power. Has a big 150mm infantry gun. Top speed of 40 km, making this 2 km faster than the Jagdpanzer IV apparently. I don't really believe that, but whatever, I'll go with the flow. Weighs 28 tons, so that will make it 5 tons heavier than the Jagdpanzer IV, 3 tons heavier than the last series in the Panzer IV Alps J. Has 100mm of thickness though, so 20mm more armour than the last version of the Panzer IV, which is the AFJ at 80mm. Here's the Brummbär late model. Early Brummbär was weak in close combat, so machine gun and vision slots were added. It was the most produced Brummbär. Same 150mm howitzer, same top speed at 40 kilometers, weighed 28 tons, which makes it 5 tons heavier, the same as the mid model, same 100mm thickness. So I'm going to go on this tank and I'm going to cut it short. To fight Russian T-34, we'll obviously do this next time as well, continuing on German. To fight Russian T-34, Germans developed a new medium tank. It imitated the T-34's design, with tilting the armour and a mounted 75mm gun. This tank was popular with the German Wehrmacht army. It has a very long 70 caliber gun. The long artillery is powerful. However, this is not an artillery tank, it's a tank destroyer with a bigger gun. Same 75 high velocity millimeter cannons, the G and the AFJ, and I think the F2. Max speed of 46 kilometers, which makes this 6 kilometers faster than the Brummbär models, and 4 miles per hour faster than the AFJ. Weighs 43 tons, which makes it quite a bit heavier, and 100mm of thickness, same as the Brummbär.